an Indian. Her mother is Indian or of Indian descent, and her father is Jamaican, a black man. So like, it's not like she's white and claiming these things. Like, there's a difference in these situations. Like, everyone can see her. There are new updates on World War III.
What could be the biggest hint yet about Vice President Kamala Harris's choice of a running mate. It comes after a raucous rally last night in Georgia, her largest campaign event yet. Ed O'Keefe was there and has new reporting from Atlanta. Ed, good morning.
Nate, good to see you. Now, she hasn't chosen a running mate, but the Harris campaign now tells us where she'll be headed with that new partner next week. They're going to start Tuesday night in Philadelphia. Pennsylvania is the home state of one of the guys on the VP shortlist, Josh Shapiro, so maybe that's a hint. But we also know the campaign is headed to western Wisconsin, Detroit, Raleigh, Savannah, Georgia, Phoenix, and Las Vegas. Some of the contenders are also from those states. But here in this battleground state last night, Harris was already making her case. Atlanta turned up and turned out for Vice President Harris, and a rap star came with a new slogan for campaign merch.
Good evening, Georgia!
Megan Thee Stallion and others made this the largest crowd of Harris's young campaign. More than 10,000 people filled a downtown arena.
Oh, it's good to be back in Georgia.
For the first time, she responded to Republican attacks on her immigration record by recalling work she did as California Attorney General, going after drug cartels and human traffickers.
I prosecuted them in case after case, and I won.
And if she wins the White House,
I will bring back the border security bill that Donald Trump, and I will sign it into law. Trump what real leadership looks like.
To fix immigration.
Her immigration record is the subject of new ads by Donald Trump designed to raise doubts at a time polls show Harris pulling even or ahead of the former president. Thousands waited hours to see Harris speak.
In 3 weeks, we've gone from an emotional feeling of no hope to hopefulness.
Does she make it easier for Democrats to win Georgia in November?
Yes.
Isn't it funny that the supposed Democratic Party dick rider political commentators were so off base on this, and the guy who's supposedly on the outside of the Democratic Party, who is routinely critical of the Democratic Party, was so correct, so on the money in terms of how the Democratic Party should continue, swapping out Joe Biden with Kamala Harris? Just saying, isn't that wild? Perhaps I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't just be an edgy version of MSNBC and make up your own mind.
Having a younger person finally at the table, bringing energy, bringing excitement, bringing joy back into politics makes a huge difference.
Harris also used her rally to once again try luring Trump back into a debate, as he still won't commit to one.
Well, Donald, as the saying goes, if you've got something to say,
on the other side of the country, Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance made his first appearance in battleground Nevada and attacked Harris's record.
Kamala Harris's vision is open American borders and closed American factories.
And doubled down on Trump's immigration plans.
We're going to launch the largest deportation program in American history. If you came here illegally, you got to go back.
Now, polls have shown in recent days that the race between Harris and Trump is starting to tighten a little bit in these battleground states. If she continues to draw big crowds like she did here in Atlanta last night, you can understand why. As for Trump, he's making a stop today at the annual meeting of the National Association of Black Journalists, one of those media organizations that meets every year and every 4 years invites presidential candidates to stop by and take questions. That is the plan. Trump, of course, has been pushing to win more black voter support, especially in battleground states like here in Georgia.
Trump campaign is projecting this on screen above the stage of his rally in Harrisburg. Oh, they're doubling down. California's Kamala Harris becomes first Indian American U.S. Senator. I don't know if they know this, but she's Indian too. Like, she's not the first black American U.S. Senator, but she is the first Indian American U.S. Senator. Well, actually, is she the first Indian American U.S. Senator? Did Nikki Haley wasn't a senator. She's the governor. Wouldn't it be, yeah, Jindal? No, Jindal was you had Jindal, Ro Khanna, but Jindal was governor too. Chad, stop saying Elizabeth Warren. I guess she is. Crazy Kamala saying she's Indian, not black. This is a big deal. Stone cold phony. She uses everybody, including her racial identity. Let's see what the right wing is doing with this one.
All the media was claiming Kamala Harris. Same media, by the way, that claimed that she was once the border czar, which she was. Now they're saying, no, we never said that. They also said back then, and she campaigns on this, being the first Indian American senator elected to the Senate. Although,
do they think you only get to pick one? Like, what's happening here? Actually, what is going on? Do these guys unironically think like if you are of Indian descent and also black, you just only get to be one? You're not both? Like, how does this work? Like, I'm confused by this line of attack. Do they unironically think that? Like, do they think the race draft is real? Am I off base here? Like, I thought if you're, both Indian and black, you're just both Indian and black.
Pocahontas also had to run for her money, but she campaigns on being Indian American. Kamala Harris, Indian American. Now all of a sudden she did a 180. She really is elevating and pushing her black side.
The thing about Elizabeth Warren is she's white. Okay, she's not Native American. Bro went back to like 17th century. By the way, but. Like, that was the funny thing about Elizabeth Warren, is that she's a white woman who was like, oh, I'm native. I'm indigenous. Okay. And as a white woman, I think it was a Fordham Law Review that wrote that like she was Harvard's first female of color professor in the Harvard Law School, which was crazy, right? Like that in like 1992, by the way. Holy, these institutions are so white. But like, that was the joke because she's white. Kamala Harris is like, she's actually black and Indian. Her mother is Indian or of Indian descent, and her father is Jamaican, a black man. So like, it's not like she's white and claiming these things. Like there's a difference in these situations. Like everyone can see her. Do these guys think everyone can't see her? What is going on? Like, do they think people just like close their eyes and go, la, 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 no, you don't understand it, brother. She ain't black. Like, this is one of those things where you can check with your eyes. Like, you can just look at it and go, yeah, no, that's a black woman. Like, she didn't magically become a black woman overnight. This makes no sense. What the? Yeah, these people would be like, these people's brains would break at the concept of like an Afro-Latino person. You know what I mean? They would be like, what? You mean to tell me you're both Mexican and black at the same time? Hold on now. No, there's only one thing. South of the border, you're Mexican. Brazilians are a different kind of Mexican. But you can't be black at the same time. You can be black, which means African-American. Think of how many jobs a Mexican black man can take from us. I don't want to think about it, brother. It scares me. The mere thought of it all. The mere thought of it all brings a shiver down my spine, brother. I hate that.
I think it's like 25%, maybe.
Well, and a lot of
a lot of black Americans.
A lot of the mainstream media is making fun of us when.
No, like not 25%. Like, no, she's just straight up. Like, her dad is black. What the? Bro, what? Yo, that's weird, man. What are you doing? Why are you being such a dork? This is crazy.
When we say things like that, and I want to just address that because, of course, people can have various races and be mixed. I'm mixed. We're all of us have different mixes. That's.
What is she mixed with? I bet she means she's Italian and German.
That's life. That's America. We're all from different countries. We have different cultural backgrounds. Somebody can have two different backgrounds, but here's the thing. You don't pander to one background and then you exploit that and you use that for your own gain versus using it as the truth and saying, well, here's my mother is this, my father is this is my background, my husband is this is who I am, and I want to be there for all Americans. No, she's not doing that. She's doing the opposite. And that's what I...
Wait, what do you mean? When was she like, I'm here just for black people, yo, Indian Americans or white Americans, I'm only here for black people and black people only? She says she did that. She's like, she came out and she was like, I'm black, I'm a black woman, and the only people I care about are black women and black women only. Nobody else. You feel me?
I think it's making people upset.
You talk to so many African Americans who support President Trump, and they're opposed to her policies.
Right. They don't like
They don't think she's looking out for their interests, which she's not.
Anyway, good stuff. Good stuff from the Republican Party.
Strong woman. I am a strong woman, a mom, a lawyer, and an American.
Alina Habba, you'll never make me, they'll never make me hate you, okay?
And unlike you, Kamala, I know who my roots are. I know where I come from. And I don't play around with the Constitution.
It's pretty funny that she flipped the Trump trial big time. RGB lawyer. She's mixed too. Mom, lawyer, and Mexican. I think she's Lebanese too. Yeah. Kamala's dad is the GOAT. This is way too strange of a meme for anyone that is not anyone that's not participating in like the first 10 minutes of the broadcast where I talk about my personal news is going to look at this and be like, what is this thing that you have made? Okay. Like, you have to be a My Hero Academia fan, and you have to know who Kamala Harris's father is, what his background is. Kamala Harris's father is the first person here, okay? He's a Marxist economist at Stanford University. Then you need to know who Yanis Varoufakis is, who is also another Marxist economist, former Greek finance minister, and HasanAbi, friend of the show. Like, what an insane meme that would never exist in any other context. Like, they're just not, like, even people who are invested in the lore of this broadcast and know My Hero Academia will be like, I don't understand what this was. Habba is 100% Iraqi. Wait, really? She's from Iraq? I thought she was Lebanese. The way she's just like, nah, I don't believe that. She exhibits a lot of Phoenician tendencies, if you know what I mean. People from the region understand what I'm talking about. Okay? She's the type to be like, I'm Phoenician. I'm not Arab. You know what I mean? She's giving white Lebanese. She's actually Assyrian. She's Iraqi Catholic. Her family left in the 80s. Oh. Fox
Kamala
News.
Harris would be the most anti-American energy president that we have ever had. She's pledged to ban fracking. It's on.
Hey, chill, bro. Come on. We Phoenicians catching strays. It's just a very specific type of person from Lebanon that says, like, I'm not Arab. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
On video, you can go look it up. When you fill up your tank at the gas station, maybe you should send a bill to Kamala Harris.
As J.D. Vance on the road there, pressure from Republicans trying to expose cracks in the Harris campaign as a resurfaced clip of her promising to ban the energy supply differ from her message today, which could leave her vulnerable in a key battleground state. Hillary Vaughn live on Capitol Hill with more on that today. Hillary, nice to see you. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill. Well, Vice President Harris's presidential campaign insists she will not ban fracking if she becomes president. But that is exactly what she promised to do the last time she campaigned for the job, promising Americans in 2019, quote, there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. But when she joined the ticket as Joe Biden's VP, she adopted his position, moving to the center on the issue. Harris's campaign today insists she has had a change of heart on the issue forever, saying, quote, she would not ban fracking. We caught up with some Democratic senators facing fierce re-election bids in battleground states like Ohio and Pennsylvania, where fracking is a key industry, and tried to ask them about Harris's old campaign promises. She very clearly, the first time she ran for president, said she wants to ban fracking. Now she's reversed it when she needs to win your state.
She's the vice president in an administration that has contributed greatly to our development of new energy sources.
Do you think that Harris is pretending to be someone that she is not?
I do not.
Why is that?
Wait, what do you mean? Democratic senators confronted on Kamala Harris, and they just give like the most normal answers. I thought there was going to be more drama here. Damn, they are trying, dude. The desperation is viewable from where I'm standing. I can see it. It's like, no.
If she said she wanted to ban fracking and now she says she won't ban fracking.
Naslit the Savior. Thank you for the 25. Get the subs.
We do it. Senator? She has promised to ban fracking. Wow. Now she's saying she won't ban fracking. Is she pretending to be someone she is not?
My focus is on my state and my work. I've endorsed Vice President Harris. I said I don't know what she said on fracking. I am working in my state and all of the above energy policy.
She said it on live television in 2019.
Mr. Schumer has not been particularly...
We gotta go.
Now, Bill, both Brown and Casey served with Harris during her time in the Senate, but it seems like her time in the White House as VP is enough to convince them that if she is in the Oval Office behind the Resolute desk, that she will not go back to her old beliefs. Bill?
Points are trying, Hillary, like Olympic points there, right? And we got to go.
97 days until election, baby. 97.
Kamala Harris flipping her.
Judge Jeanine. Kamala Harris seems to forget she's in office. Judge Jeanine is here to put on a clinic. A clinic about what, mind you? Civility. A clinic on how to present yourself. Judge Jeanine is literally like the one person that is more visibly barred out than Kamala Harris used to be as the vice president, running around smiling and okay? Like, you are not allowed to blast Kamala Harris when you're always out of your mind. You're so angry and slurring your words because you're Judge Jeanine. Yeah, the only clinic she should be signing up for is rehab.
Her stance on some top issues. The vice president claiming at a rally that she's actually tougher on the border than Trump.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, by the way, this narrative deserves line of attack from Republicans, okay? Yeah, I told you this was going to happen yesterday, and they're already flamping on this. And they should. It would be stupid for them not to. Okay?
Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been talking a big game about securing our border, but he does not walk the walk.
Is Harris doing everything you feared? Yes. Yes, she is. She is. She came out in front of a Georgia audience, predominantly of young and old black Georgians, and got them to cheer for a right-wing anti-immigrant policy, claiming that she was going to be far more aggressive on the border than Donald Trump, who doesn't take the border issue seriously. Okay? It is so bad, and it spells trouble. It spells trouble for Kamala Harris in general, but more importantly than this election cycle, it spells trouble for America's future as we are bouldering towards a fascist future at an alarming clip, at an alarming rate, just like you're bouldering towards the top of the hour ad break at an alarming rate. When I serve it to you at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. You will get 1 free Prime subscription a month. Capitulating the right-wing framing on the top of the hour is not the right way to avoid the ad breaks, but getting gifted a sub, if you're lucky, is. Here's the 3-minute ad break now.
Or as my friend Quavo would say, he does not walk it like he talks it. And when I am president, I will work to actually solve the problem.
And this comes as anonymous campaign officials are telling the New York Times that Harris all of a sudden supports fracking, wants to increase border funding, does not want to require selling assault weapons back to the government, and no longer supports a single-payer health insurance program. But Harris might have a hard time rebranding herself as a moderate because of these past statements.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. There's no question that we've got to critically re-examine ICE, and we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
What would you do about the millions of, specifically, assault weapons that are already in circulation.
We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
You support the Medicare for All bill. I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance. So for people out there who like their insurance, they don't get to keep it?
Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
Jesse, how the media has tried, and Democrats have tried to super glue.
Law, isn't this good for moderates who somewhat care about the border but aren't? Brother, what are you talking about? In the year 2020, when Joe Biden was running to the left of Donald Trump's border policies that were unimaginably cruel, okay, he, on certain polls, was defeating Donald Trump on the issue of immigration, but on many polls, he was trailing behind Donald Trump by like 10 points, sometimes 15 points. Joe Biden, in the last poll conducted on the issue of immigration against Donald Trump in 2024, when he was running on a right-wing slant on the border, claiming that, yes, this is a national security problem, and basically running with Donald Trump's 2020 agenda items, building the wall, included in the border bill that he was presenting to Congress, was trailing behind Trump by 30 points. Okay? 30. There has never been a proven, resilient, sticking point for the Democratic Party when they turn around and capitulate the right-wing framing on right-wing hysteria, okay? Whether it be crime and funding the police or whether it be the issue of immigration. You have to understand this. Democrats, for some weird reason, don't understand it, okay? My fear with Kamala Harris was also that she is very malleable, okay? She's very malleable and she's not very strong in terms of her like ideological commitment to any sort of issue. Having said that, this presented an option. Maybe she would be influenced by unions and maybe move in the right direction, stay the course, influenced by Joe Biden, actively championing progressive legislation in with respect to the economy, of course. I thought maybe she would do that, but I was fearful that they would call her a woke, socialist, Marxist, you know, much worse than Joe Biden, and that she would immediately get scared and turn around and recenter her focus to the political center, or what they think is the political center. Trump is speaking of Pennsylvania, by the way, as Harris dares him to debate. I just want you guys to understand. I mean, I don't want to go through another Trump speech. Okay. The craziest thing that could have ever happened at a Trump speech already happened. And now all of those other speeches, you're just like, we already nutted one time. You know what I mean? We're just not going to nut again in the same way. Your concerns on Kamala basically echo a 2008 Obama rerun? No, it's worse than that. Because Obama in 2008 was still uncompromising when he was running. He, of course, immediately switched his positions as soon as he assumed the office. But when he was running as a progressive champion. Whereas Kamala Harris is not done running yet. And she already is retriangulating her campaign positions at a time when the only thing that was good about the Biden reelection was his unyielding support for a progressive agenda in terms of the economy. Okay? No matter what happened, he just kept sticking to the message. He was not a good messenger, and he barely could stick to the message. He would flub quite a bit, but the message was still there. He was like, no, we're doing rent caps. Whereas Kamala Harris, fearful, exhibiting that old school Democratic Party instinct, is, I'm afraid, going to immediately retriangulate and act like she is not a champion of progressive causes at all. And actually, she's a total moderate, and it's a good thing. And that sucks, okay? That shows that she's wishy-washy, so that's bad on the aesthetics front.
All the media was claiming Kamala
voters care about the aesthetics. It looks like she's flip-flopping on, okay? That she has no coherent identity. That's not good. That will cut away at the momentum that she has currently. And not only that, but also, it's not good policy anyway. Democrats need to be fighters, not cowards and losers, okay? Yeah, this is a direct swap, by the way. Do you think X's age would have an impact on their ability as president? Trump, severely, all the way to little impact, 60%. No impact, 30%. With Kamala Harris, no impact 60%, severely/little impact at 27%. This literally was the exact flip for Joe Biden. The exact flip for Joe Biden.
The Project 2025 project to Donald Trump. Even though he says he didn't have anything to do with it, he doesn't meet the people, he doesn't like them, he's disavowed it. But the media is basically erasing her past statements and saying that she doesn't have to deal with any of them.
I'm used to it. This could last forever.
Yeah.
I sometimes go from thinking it could be a landslide, and then the next day I wake up and I'm saying, oh my God, it's going to be a nail biter. Because she hasn't done a single interview since she's been the nominee. She hasn't done a real interview since May. And why would she do an interview next week? Why wouldn't she just wait?
You and Republicans are underestimating her majorly? Wait, what? Underestimating her? I've never said that, like, I think Kamala Harris is going to be a certain type of way. I'm simply saying what I've seen thus far with the amount of, with the messaging coming from her campaign, you know, the leaks of the New York Times, the capitulation that she's already leaned into. I'm just looking at what she's putting out there for people to read, and I don't like what I see. It reminds me of old school Democratic Party incompetence. The swap out from Joe Biden to Kamala Harris was not old school Democratic Party incompetence. It was actually an unrealistic and surprising, very positive, mind you, demonstration of party competence. They did something so good. I was begging for it, and it happened, and I was happy that it happened. But then I said, all right, let's see what Kamala Harris does. And so far, not great.
Until the convention, get the pop from the VP pick.
Okay, so you don't like what you see. Who cares? I mean, clearly you do. You're in here watching me, a political commentator, do political commentary. I don't know who you're talking to. Okay, buddy, then don't vote for her. I don't know who you're fighting with, my friend. I don't know what you're fighting for. I'm very confused about what you are doing in here. Like, are you okay? Is someone forcing you to watch the broadcast at gunpoint or something? You know, you don't have to watch, right? Why are you so mad?
Get the pop from the convention. All of a sudden it's September and you haven't answered anything. You haven't been asked about your flip-flops. You haven't been asked about your cover-ups. You haven't been asked who you are. And she could get away with it. It's the same hiding Biden. Now it's hiding Harris. And now it's just a...
You know what's really funny about this, by the way? I'm almost certain the same people that are now yelling at me for criticizing Kamala were most likely the same people that were pushing for Biden till the very end. They just have bad instincts. That's it. Like, they don't really think. They just toe the party line. You know what I mean? Like, it's that same exact energy. They were riding with Biden till the very end, and now they're riding with Kamala till the very end. Crazy Kamala is saying she's Indian, not black. This is a big deal. Stone cold phony.
Can she
uses everybody, including her racial identity.
The media was clamoring to get an interview. They want to keep her hidden. So this could go on forever, and I'm not concerned, Harold, but...
Yeah, no, they're not hiding Kamala Harris. She just did it. You're literally showing her at the massive 10,000 person auditorium rally that she just conducted. Like, what's happening here? Yesterday. Actually, what is going on? Do these guys unironically think, like, if you are of Indian...
Should Jesse be concerned about what's... I think so, for this reason. It's a good thing. It's a positive thing to be concerned because I think when candidates on either side or both sides who are running have to think seriously and thoughtfully about, are they credible? Are they authentic? Are they consistent? And if they're not going to be consistent, voters have every right, and where I agree with Jesse wholeheartedly, is voters have every right to see the vice president, now the candidate, presumptive nominee for Democrats, come before the country and explain what was the change in position on fracking. How did that come about? And I actually think it's constructive when politicians have different opinions on issues as new facts and circumstances present themselves. I'd be curious to know, is it because the war in Ukraine has showed us that energy security, she thinks about it in a different way than she thought about it 5 or 6 years ago. If JD and Burgum and Marco Rubio, who all said very negative things about President Trump over the several years, can change, and I believe they did. How come she can't change? But I think the way you address that, and just to Jesse's point, she should accept the debates, and the president should accept the debates that each of them are offering one another, because the country deserves to see Vice President Harris.
Trump kind of needs a debate because the media is not going to question her. He's got to do it. Can you guys play,
okay, I'm sorry.
I want to play call for number 3 because I think this is interesting. This is what she said she would do on day 1 if she wins, Judge.
Kamala Harris supports increasing the number of Border Patrol agents.
So bad.
Donald Trump blocked a bill to increase the number of Border Patrol agents.
The one that I wanted said, on day 1, I will work to take on price gouging and bring down costs. Okay? As if she's not part of the Biden-Harris administration that caused the inflation in the first place.
Well, and that's exactly the problem. She seems to forget that she is currently in office. And I find it so incredibly insulting that she says, when I am president, I will work to solve the problem of immigration, or the sound that we just heard. Are you kidding me? You were the border czar. And the fact that big tech or the mainstream media is playing games with the Democrat Party again, and don't you ever think they're going to change? And they're pulling out all indications of her being the border czar. I mean, you can't just change on a dime. Harold, it's one, let me finish.
Sure.
It's one thing to, say I'm for this and I'm for that in a debate, and they should debate. But she's got to sit down with someone and explain. Harold, you want to attribute to her some brilliant understanding as to why she evolved on the issues.
I can't recall. What did I say yesterday that Republicans would immediately say? What did I say immediately yesterday when she unveiled her immigration package? That Republicans would be like, dude, you were tasked with dealing with a border for 4 years. Donald Trump has been trying to immigrants for 8. Okay, you are new to this equation. Don't try to switch up on us like this last second. Ain't nobody believes you. No, she wasn't. She was the VP. I'm telling you right now, chat, I promise you, I know a little bit more on this issue than you do, okay? You can Google it before you write stuff in the chat, okay? I'm not a very smart guy, but I just have this like super weird autistic talent of just retaining this kind of information, okay? I promise you, I'm right on this, okay? Just Google it and you will find out for yourself. Okay, so tell me. What do you mean tell me? You already don't trust me. What do you mean? Kamala Harris was tasked with dealing with the border. That's why we have that famous do not come emote in the chat where she went to Guatemala and told Guatemalans, do not come. Okay. That was one of the first actions that she took in 2021. Joe Biden put her on border duty. She was declared the border czar. Okay. This is a big weakness for Kamala Harris. I fear that I'm going to have to repeat myself to liberals who are really excited on the Kamala momentum. Oh, what do you mean? And what else? That's it. And yesterday I said, as soon as she unveiled her hardline right-wing immigration status, okay, that every single, that alone, okay, law, what do you mean that alone? That's a pretty big deal. What are you talking about? So that alone, very nice. Okay, you don't get to be an asshole while you don't get to be a smug asshole while also like, not knowing all of this information. It's very odd. I said yesterday that as soon as she said, I'm going to fight real hard for the border, I'm going to do the right-wing border, that Republicans would turn around and be like, you were the border czar. That's what Joe Biden put you down as. You were tasked with handling immigration. You fit up for 4 years. Now you're going to start acting different and act like you care about the border. You care about immigrants. Fuck you. You're a liar. Even you recognize the border is bad now. Donald Trump has been good on the border. That's his major role for the past 8 years, as a matter of fact. Why would anybody trust you? Why would anybody believe you? We had a 3-hour stun log on this issue yesterday. Let's continue.
Like you mentioned Ukraine. The only thing I can think of is when she was in Ukraine was when they said to her, will you be taking any of the refugees from Ukraine? She was a bit. And then the president of Poland started to respond, and she says, a friend in need is a friend indeed. I mean, if you have a substantive reason you can give me for changing your position, I'll hear you. But otherwise, you're lying like Joe Biden came into office as a progressive. The Trojan horse was full of progressives. They backed into the Oval Office and they changed this country.
She's so fucking hammered, dude. She's sloshed every time.
That's why they should have debates, and I'm glad you accept.
Thank you. I agree on the debate.
Do you accept Governor Burgum's explanation when he said,
I don't care about Governor Burgum.
Of course you
He's
don't.
not running for president.
Of course you don't. Of course you don't. I got it.
It's like Harris is like all of a sudden she has her solo career, and she's left the.
She's just walking. She's just walking out of Van Halen.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, she's got to do one or two things. She's got to completely disavow the last 3.5 years. Say it was a complete blank show, and she was handcuffed.
Blank slate, man. How many times did the dude get hit in the head, bro? What is happening?
By progressives. And so when she gets...
You got one job, big dog, is to just say words correctly, okay? That is literally the only job you are tasked with right now.
Office, the first thing she's going to do is fire everyone from the old administration. That would be a flip-flop that everyone would be like, okay, maybe there's some truth to that. The problem is that she wants to own it. When you go in a speech and you say, if I'm elected, and if I was sitting there way back in the chief...
I do agree that I think she needs to focus on other policies and not on immigration. She should never bring up immigration. Voluntarily bringing up immigration, unimaginable dumb shit, okay? Dumb shit. Especially because, like, even for the reactionaries, okay? Right now, Biden's incredibly restrictive policies on the border have already cut immigration dramatically. So it's not even a fucking point of contention at this moment. Just, if you're going to talk about immigration, talk about how Donald Trump is psychotic and walk through the steps of how Donald Trump wants to set up concentration camps, okay? That's it. He wants mass deportation. They're waving mass deportation banners at the RNC. What are we talking about here? That is insanely cruel. That's the only thing you should say. Donald Trump is advocating for the Bracero program, or rather the mass deportation of 1.3 million Mexicans that occurred, Mexican Americans included, where they were dumped into like random places, sprayed with toxic chemicals, put into concentration camps under the Eisenhower administration. Donald Trump is talking about that positively, okay? It's a forgotten part of American history and a long sequence of awful policies that we've pushed for time and time again. What? I have a copy of Kamala Harris's birth certificate. Nowhere on her birth certificate does it say she's black or African. Donald Trump is correct. Kamala Harris is not black and never has been. She's a descendant of slave owners. Kamala Harris is the daughter of Donald J. Harris, who was born in Jamaica, and Shamala Gopalan Harris from India. Kamala Harris's 4 times paternal great-grandfather is a guy named Hamilton Brown. Yeah, dude, they did this with Obama too. Like, dude, bro, do Republicans not know like one black person? Like just one. That's all I'm asking. Like, talk to a singular black person. Just one, okay? One black American. The fuck is this beeping? One singular black American. And you will understand that, yes, a lot of black Americans have white people in their lineage. This is oftentimes not a consequence of consensual acts of mutual love and respect. Hasan, I may be having a stroke, but I do believe Jamaicans are black. Brown emigrated to Jamaica when it was a British colony, and once he arrived, he became an avid slave owner on the sugar plantations in Jamaica. Hamilton Brown opposed the abolition of slavery in the British Empire and promoted slavery and slave ownership till the day he died. Are these people okay? Just one. Talk to a singular black person, okay? For example, notice how black people that are first generation, second generation migrants from African nations, from the African continent, are oftentimes darker than black people in America. Let's think about why that might be the case. Think it through, okay? Why could that be? It's very odd. That's a generalization, man. No, it's not a general. What are you talking about, dude? What the fuck are we talking about? Up until like literally 100 years ago, this process often was not consensual, okay? Yes, a lot of black people in America have white ancestors as a byproduct of mass rape that occurred during chattel slavery. What do I have to do? Spell this shit out for people? What the fuck? Open a goddamn book, man. What is happening? What the fuck is going on? Bro, they banned CRT. Yeah, they really fucking did a number on American education.
Seats, and I raised my hand and said, a question. Aren't you currently working there now? Couldn't you just call the old guy? It's not like you can't talk him into stuff. You know, just putting that out there. So couldn't you have all this stuff done between now and elections so it would just be easy because we're just seeing what it looks like? He only works the office from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. with a nap and a lunch in there.
10 to 4.
So pretty much I'm clocking in at 4:01, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm working the night shift till I'm elected, and I'm going to get things done. That would be great. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. And to Jesse's point, I am paying attention too.
Everyone's paying attention.
To be fair, rape is a lesser known aspect of slavery. Most of the media focuses on slavery. Bro, I genuinely don't get it. I don't understand how you can't even like walk through the steps. Like read a book, a singular book, and you will understand how this happens when you trace the lineage of many black Americans. And you find I'm actually black and you're flattening the truth of history to push a point. Colonization has a 600-year history in Africa and people are light-skinned there for the same reasons. Wait, what? Black Jamaicans are black? That's a generalization, man. Wait, what are you talking about? What? I never said that there aren't like the very same there aren't like the very same process that occurred on the continent of Africa. You made that inference all on your own. What the fuck? You said the black Africans in Africa are darker than blacks here? No. I said, ever wonder why first generation African migrants sometimes tend to be darker than black Americans in the United States of America? This does not mean that there aren't lighter shades of black people, or rather, rape did not occur in Africa. I'm not lying about history. I'm trying to explain to Americans, specifically white people in America, how this very simple concept, a historical reality, exists, and why black people in the Western world have white ancestors at times. Oh my Lord. What a fucking weirdo ass way to laser in on a point that I'm not making to just like get upset. Now you say sometimes tend to be. Man, shut the fuck up. Shut your bitch ass up, dumbass chatter. Jesus Christ, dude. Oh, now you say tend to be. Yeah, you got it, dude. You're right. I was actually minimizing the impact of colonial violence on the continent of Africa. Dumbass. You're going to get canceled on Twitter again? Twitter can suck my cock, dude. Who's going to cancel me? The fuck? It's all Nazis up in there. Yeah, go ahead. Clip it and post it on Twitter. The point I'm making is that black people, African descendants of slaves, okay? African descendants of slaves, specifically in the Western Hemisphere, okay, can trace their ancestry back to some white people. This is a byproduct not of consensual loving relationships in most circumstances, but instead a byproduct of mass rape that occurred under chattel slavery. When that's the point I'm making, and you're fucking lost in the minutia trying to make it seem like I'm saying something different, you're a fucking dumbass, okay? You're selfish little dumbass. And in your narcissistic tendency, you wanted to turn the conversation and the entire attention in a fucking 38,000 person stream back to you, okay? Me. I don't care what your background is, okay? You're a narcissistic, selfish dumb fuck who purposefully tried to act like you're fighting for the cause of social justice and advocating for historical atrocities in the way that they are represented on this broadcast. But in fact, that's not your main point here. Because if that was your main point, you would understand the point I was making. Okay? You wouldn't try to fucking attack me. Keck mad. Okay, well, that's an easy ban. Oh. It is one of the most annoying tendencies that fucking trolls have. And everybody understands that it's fucking annoying, right? Everybody understands that it's fucking annoying. The whole, oh, I like waffles. Oh, you mean you want to fucking kill everyone that eats pancakes? I didn't say that. There's a whole different sentence. Is a very common trope on Twitter, okay? But for some weird reason, that shit gets a lot of mileage in every fucking community, okay? Suck my dick. Not here. Anyway. What an insane fucking argument to make, by the way. Like, this is, again, if you knew a single black person, they could probably educate you on this. They could be like, yeah, like one black person. That's all it takes. How the fuck do you not know a single black person? You live in America, dude. You live in, how the fuck do you not even on accident, encounter like a single black person that could be like, hey, maybe you shouldn't post this, because like bringing up the fact that like Kamala Harris has a slaver in her ancestry is not the own that you think it is. It just makes you look like a fucking out of touch dumbass, like a unimaginable racist. Anyway, not the spam, but I want to know if you snore. Please confirm that you snore and please don't ban me. I don't. Like, even if you don't know a single black person, like you could just, use common sense. But I guess it's not so common.
Donald Trump clashing with reporters at the National Association of Black Journalists conference. Trump's invitation didn't come without backlash from some attendees, with the co-chair of the event resigning over the organization's decision to host him. And it was tense on stage from the moment Trump sat down.
Why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. And then you were half an hour late. Just so we understand, I have too much respect for you to be late. I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln.
Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
She was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that
I think somebody should look into that too when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans have said?
I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some.
We have you for a limited time, sir. I'd love to move on to different topics.
Excuse you. You're the one that held me up for 35 minutes, just so you understand.
Kamala Harris was supposed to sit with the same panel, but had scheduling issues. The organization is hoping to have her join in September, but that didn't stop Trump from keeping her in the conversation.
Would you consider taking the cognitive test?
Mr. President,
I would love to
and
do
make
it
public.
Well, I've already taken 2 of them, but I'll do it again.
Mr. President, how do you intend to...
I suggested, Harris, that let's take one. I said, Joe and I will go and take a cognitive test. Now, I'd do it with her, too. I would do it with her also. You know what? She failed her law exam. She didn't pass her law exam, so maybe she wouldn't pass the cognitive test.
Bro, she was the Attorney General of California. Like, what are you talking about? Dog, that's crazy. Like, that is a wild thing to run on when you're Donald Trump. What the fuck? Do you want to take the bar exam in California? Many lawyers fail it. Brother, your signature test taking accomplishment is man, woman, camera, TV. What are you saying? Like, obviously she passed. You know what I mean? She was a courtroom prosecutor. She clearly passed. So is Trump incorrect here? Oh yes, my favorite. Like the weirdos are in here. So is Trump in the wrong here? Yes. Presenting the notion that Kamala Harris failed the bar exam, a reality for every single fucking lawyer, damn near every single lawyer at a certain point in their career. Okay? It is incredibly common to not be able to pass the bar exam the first time you take it. It is super common. Okay? So using that, I mean, yeah, she wouldn't be sitting where she is right now. Yeah, okay. So you understand that, right? Bringing that up when she was a courtroom prosecutor, then the Attorney General of the state of fucking California, is so stupid. Yeah, I'm sure at a certain point she was shitting in her diapers too. That doesn't fucking, there's no relevance to the conversation. You know what I mean? Like, why are you bringing that up? Kamala Harris was pooping in her pants. I will not say at what point in her life or what she has done since then, but she pooped in her pants. Like, okay, got it. Cool. Like, what the fuck? Poop, folks, in her pants. Won't say when, but it's true. I can't believe Hogs have us defending Kamala like this. Like, there's plenty to fucking shit on Kamala Harris on, and I do actually criticize her quite frequently. Definitely more frequently now. because there's things that are worthy of criticism. But like, this is not one of those things. This is a very stupid angle of attack, especially when you're Donald Trump, like notoriously not known as an intelligent guy.
And NABJ President Ken Lemon defending Trump's invitation before the event.
We invited both of them. We got a yes from one of them. We'd love to get a yes from Kamala as well. Us as journalists, people who go into and have very uncomfortable conversations for the sake of our members, this is an important time. I understand people are disappointed. I understand people are upset. It is our job also to offer that opportunity for those candidates to be here.
All right, Tyrus, I'll start with you. So 35 minutes late, he has to wait. He's told his opponent's going to be there. She's not there. There's a lot of objection to his even being there. The co-chair of the event apparently resigned.
The California bar literally has a 40% first-time pass rate.
Stepped down. Not a modicum of respect, he says, but how do you think he did?
Phenomenal. You know what? It's amazing. You can break it down to this. Since they like to group, since it's black voters and white voters and black this and black that and white this and white that. But when they had an event, he showed up. The Democrats didn't. So that should mean something. And they made him wait. They made him late. Did he leave? He would have been within his reason to be like, listen.
Yeah, he's the GOAT. He waited. Apparently, they made him wait because he just refused to be live fact-checked or some shit. There was a standoff, but...
I'm running for president of the United States. My time's valuable. He could have left. He didn't. He showed up. He was insulted. But here's the thing. I don't judge by... She was there for what that reporter, I'm not calling her a journalist, was there for one reason, to get talking soundbite.
Wait, reporter? I'm not calling her a journalist? But you just used a synonym. What?
For the Democrats, trying to get him to be mean and nasty. And literally within a minute, that's all they came out with talking about. But here's the thing. He called her out on it. But the crowd, they were expecting when she said that, there'd be huge cheers and boos and all this stuff. And they were listening to what he had to say. And there was a few times that people yelled out like, yeah, so their narrative does not match the American people, no matter what color the crowd is. So that's what they should really be concerned with. But he went there. He knew how it was going to be. He answered questions. He was there. He was present. He showed up. And I thought his statements, it was great. And he didn't allow them to change the narrative or get him. He was exactly who he was supposed to be. And this was a big day for him.
And, you know, Dana, what about the fact that Trump has gone to places where Republican candidates have avoided? I mean, with South Bronx, Harlem, he went here, he waited.
Yes.
Yeah. Donald Trump, not afraid of black people, has physically been in the presence of a lot of black people. Clearly.
So I admire that, right? Because if you can say a lot of things about the Trump fans ticket, if you like them, you don't like them, whatever. But they're working for it. They're working hard, and maybe the numbers are going to even out. But before Biden pulled out, one of the things we talked about regularly was just the numbers that were collapsing for Biden on the black vote, for example. So he won like 91% of the black.
You're just being a demagogue and spilling sophistry now just because you don't know what these words mean if you're deploying them against me currently.
Vote in 2020. Trump had him getting about, I think that Biden was down like 73%. So the Republican Party doesn't need to win all of the black vote in order to win. They need to win more than they have before. And so addition is better than subtraction when it comes to politics. And again, they're working for it. Thing is, yes, you're probably going to get some hostile questions. Got to be ready for them. I worked for a boss who, if people were running late, he did not like it at all. And I don't blame him for pushing back on that. I do wonder how much video, right? Because not a lot of people watch things on television necessarily anymore. This will be sliced and diced into 100 different ways. But I think that the fact that he went there is important. She could have gone. She decided not to. She's at Sheila Jackson Lee's funeral today, so I get that. She's going to do another sorority event. But where are the journalists clamoring for her to do a press conference? There's no demand that Kamala Harris...
What? You just literally showed one journalist from the association saying it would be nice to have her here.
start answering a bunch of questions. I think that if she had gone, she would have gotten some pretty tough questions.
Yeah,
and she probably would not have been able to answer them well.
One of the things, Harold, that Donald Trump has is more support among black voters than any other presidential candidate has had.
Republican,
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Republican, bro. That's so funny. Come on, dude. Yeah, he's got the 8%. Pretty crazy.
Republican presidential candidate has had. Do you expect that's going to continue, or do you think Kamala Harris takes some of that from him?
Well, it's good to see you, and good to be back around the table. It's been a while. I'd say a couple of things. I agree largely with what Tyrus and Dana have said. I think, number one, I don't know how, as a journalist, you could be surprised that someone either accepts your invitation or declines your invitation. And just because one of the people accepts...
Had to throw in that Republican. I mean, it's true. It's ridiculous to say that without mentioning Republican, that becomes a lie. It is only true if you say Republican.
The invitation. It might be a person whom you may personally have issues with or disagree with. But if you're part of an organization, the second part, you're a journalist organization. This is not a cooking organization. This is not an organization of electricians who are wonderful, valuable people, but these are journalists. It's like what Ken, I think, is Lemon, what he said, we have an uncomfortable job of asking tough questions. So if you invite someone and you're a journalist, presumably to interview them, you shouldn't resign from the organization because the person who you were least inclined to agree with accepts and the person you're inclined to agree with declines. Two, you can't control when you are being interviewed. I've never run for president. I ran for the Senate. I went before groups of interviewers and journalists who I knew did not hold my positions and might be a little hostile to me. And I never opened up by saying, I wish you'd have said hello to me. I wish you'd have been nice to me. I thought he missed an opportunity to press. I disagree slightly with Tyrus in this regard. I would have just laid out all the things. I watched a lot of it. I would have just laid out all the things that you've done. The president believes that he's done to help black voters, help black Americans. I certainly would not have questioned whether or not Kamala Harris is black or she's in. I thought
that was a mistake.
I mean, look, I agree with you wholeheartedly about him going there, but Dana made the point also, and I agree. When you go before these things, the point of a political exercise is to gain more voters. And I'd be curious to know, to answer your question, Judge, if they actually believed, if his team, because they pulled him after about 35 minutes, and he was supposed to be there for an hour, if they believe he actually gained voters in this process or just excited the voters that he may already have. Now, he, in his last election, I think got, was it 8 or 9% of the African-American vote? He obviously is making an intentional effort, has made an intentional decision to go after black voters in a more aggressive way, meaning he wants more of them. And I'm not convinced that if I were him, I would have handled it like this. I thought there was probably a more effective way to handle it, but I give him credit for going. And I give him credit for sitting there. I don't quite know if he achieved. If I was his advisor, I'd sit back and say, I don't know if we handled that one right.
What do you think, Jesse?
He stole the news cycle. Kamala's gotten great press over the last week and a half, and he just ripped it right back and put it right on his...
That's awesome. Yeah, Donald Trump stole the news cycle by shitting in his diapers for 25 consecutive minutes, and everyone made fun of him for his belligerent stances. Everyone's paying attention to me, so I guess I'm the winner. These people have kid brain, dude. I swear. Masterful gambit, sir. Everyone's yelling at you.
He did that. This was a brave move. Everybody sees this, black, white, Hispanic. You're looking at a guy that talks straight, is real, and is courageous. He goes right into the lion's den and treats everybody the same. Doesn't matter if it's a black woman asking the question. Doesn't matter who it is. If you disrespect him, he's going to give it right back to you. It was a Megyn Kelly moment, and we love Megyn. If you have a tough question like that right out of the gate, he took it upper deck. And that's what everybody liked to see. Now, if you like Donald...
Yeah, he fucking killed it when he was like, Kamala Harris is not black. Like, this is not an issue in contest. This is not something that you can contest like this. It's just like, she's black. Like, you can see that she's black. It's literally like looking at Obama and be like, that's a white guy. Nope. That's a white guy. Also DEI, by the way. Like, what are we doing? Bro called a group of black people the Lions Den. Yeah. The Lions Den. Also, your colleague is on the panel, man. Fucking Harris Faulkner is on the panel. Like, there are conservative black journalists on there too, including your colleague who was asking questions to Donald Trump. They were all one thing, though. They were all black. So maybe that's why they were the Lions Den.
Trump, and you watch that, you're ready now. I mean, this is a big moment for the campaign. This was a big confrontation in the summer, and he handled it classy. It could have been much more nasty. It was fine the way he handled it. If you're going to go in there and say, oh, you know, maybe I'm sorry. No. Where's that gotten us, Judge? We've been so politically correct the last couple of years. We're so afraid.
Yeah. You can't be black if you have mixed blood does not strike me as the most effective rejoinder to the claim you're weird. Like, dude, these guys are literally jumping over hoops, doing like quantum blood science. They'd be like, you see, Kamala Harris is actually not full black. She had a white ancestor. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, did you guys completely forget how to run campaigns? Like, what the fuck? I've investigated Kamala Harris's trash to find a piece of her DNA to do a 23andMe test. They did that to Obama too? Yeah, Obama was a 2-term president. What are we talking about? Exactly. That shit doesn't work. That should be the first clue that, like, yeah, that's not good campaigning. You lost twice to a black guy in a fundamentally white supremacist country. What are we talking about? Like, and before you say, Hasan, how can you say this is a fundamentally white supremacist country and then say this kind of racist rhetoric doesn't work? Don't make me explain the equation one more time to you. Klansmen don't like to be called racist. Nazis don't like to be called Nazis. Okay? There is a level of permissible racism. And if you go beyond it, even racist people are like, oh, that's weird and nerdy. Like, I just want the regular racism. Okay? That's it. And you're going way beyond it. Like, the DEI narratives and affirmative action narratives do not work well for a lot of moderates, but more importantly than moderates, it doesn't. It's an immediate way to just cast aside any black voter that you could have possibly grabbed onto, because every black person has been called the word, okay? And I don't mean just DEI. I mean what it actually spells. DEI, affirmative action. Like, these are concepts that imply pretty overtly, as a matter of fact, that, like, black people and brown people do not deserve the position that they're in, and they were only elevated to that status due to the color of their skin. They've heard it a lot. Okay? The point is, when you do that, just, you know, cast aside all of the potential black votes that you were going to get. But beyond that, okay, beyond that, there's also another level of racism that you're hitting now, where you're like looking at a black woman and be like, she's not really black, or questioning like what country she's actually from. That type of stuff actually makes even like normal Republicans kind of look at it and go, I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm just the regular kind of racist, you know, like lock your door when you see a black person walking towards your car in the parking lot type racist. Not like quantum blood race realist racist. That shit's nerdy as fuck. Okay, you can't go to that. You can't go to distance. Yeah, there's a level of like casual racism versus competitive racism. Casual racism relies on white supremacy being baked into every aspect of American society. So you can just point to things. that are racist and go, no, this is the norm. How dare you call it racist? Like the criminal justice system. No, actually, it's supposed to fucking lock up black men disproportionately. Duh. You say that because you don't want to say black people have skulls that imply that they're more violent and barbaric. When you fucking flip the narrative and you say black people have skulls that make them more violent and barbaric, even the people who are going to agree with you on the criminal justice system is not racist aspect, they're going to turn around and be like, what the fuck did you say? Do you understand? That's what the Republicans keep doing. All you got to do is point to the existing structures. All you got to do is point to the existing inequalities and go, these things are good, and you're a pussy for saying that they're not. You're woke for saying that they're not, and just keep it at that. Okay? You can't do the opposite. Hasan, you're the one that's going to get spliced and diced here. Please chill. Wait, what? In the midst of my talking point about like America being a fundamentally white supremacist nation? Is that what people are going to do? Oh man, I'm going to get clipped out of context. Okay, well, whatever. Anyway. Yeah, that's never happened to me before. What's next? Are they going to clip me for the top of the hour ad break and say Hasan is a fake socialist? He serves ads at the top of the hour every hour for 3 minutes and then says if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $6 or for free. Anyway, Trump speaking at the Pennsylvania rally agrees to debate Harris. Well, Kamala, let's go. Challenge accepted. Are you ready? It's only been 10 days and he's already in full panic mode. Here's a 3-minute ad break now. Behind every use of DEI is the implication that an entire pile of more qualified whites had to be passed over to get to the person in question. Yeah, exactly. Okay, we interrupt this broadcast for a funny moment here. The U.S. Army says their $11 million deal with Iraq and the UFL did not result in a single new recruit. It actually led to 38 recruits delisting. They're now trying to get a significant portion of their money back. The ROC was supposed to make 5 social